Figyelem, a videó erős spoilereket tartalmaz. Én szóltam? Hello mindenkinek, takizoli vagyok, és üdvözletiteket a Stanley Parable Deluxe-nál. Ez az első képernyő, amit elétek sok a játék. Játszottál-e már a Stanley Parable-lel? Én játszottam vele. Szóval megnyomjuk, hogy igen, és elvileg van ebbe egy csomó új ending, új titkok, meg ilyesmi. Kíváncsi vagyok, hogy mi lesz. Ó, így nekem jó. Nektek gondolom még jobb. Mostani idő. Így. Köszönöm. Wow. Már most egy picivel jobban néz ki a játék. Gyorsan megnézem a beállításokat, minden faszányos. Mehet is.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Na akkor, mint ahogy azt hallottátok, ugye Stanley-t játsszuk, aki egy ember egy nagy cégnél, ő 227-es, és hát ugye ez volt a munkája, egész nap gombokat nyomogatni, megmondtad neki, hogy milyen gyorsan nyomja, meg hogy meddig. Hát, nem az én munkám szerintem. És ugye ezt az egészet egy narrátor mondta, ami nagyon fontos a játéknál.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Most...
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Nem találom az embereket, hol vannak. Igen, a narrátor az mindig mondja, hogy mit csinálsz, mit csináljál, mi van az érve? I like work. I just hate my... Szeretem a munkám, csak a főnököm utálom. Vannak ezzel így egy páron? Én már kijátszottam az egész játékot. Tetőtől talpig. Mindent ismerek a játékban. Az összes véget befejeztem. Az eredetiben. Itt meg most az újdonságokat keresem. Utána a hétfőt. Mindjárt lesz a 2 ajtó. Sehol senki.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Igen, most itt van ugye az első dilemma, a választás. Bocsánat, hogy a kamerát így folyton mozgatom. Kezemet muszáj igazítgatnom. Na szóval, 2 döntés van. Kövessük, amit a narrátor mondott, vagy ne. Most nem tudom, hogy hova rakták az új befejezéseket, szóval én azt mondom, hogy nem követjük. Szóval azt mondod, hogy balra menjek, jobbra megyek.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Perhaps
he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Itt lesz a lounge.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Coffee nut.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
És játék azt akarja, hogy oda menjek. Nem.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Csak itt van egy olyan ending, hogy szépen
I
leessünk.
realize that investing your trust in someone else can be
De
difficult,
oda is
but
lehet
the
menni.
fact is that the story has been about... What? Really?
Aha.
I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others?
Bizony,
Are you that
nem tett, nem
convinced that I
érdekelt.
want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked
Igen.
through the red door.
Stanley a piros ajtón ment át. Stanley a kék ajtón ment át.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
Piros? De színvak vagyok. Ez a piros, ugye? Ez a piros.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
Oké. Piros, kék.
All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me
Még
stop
szép
you.
vagy, látni akarom.
You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted?
Igen, azt
Was it worth
akartam.
ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires
Azért
of
csinálom
yours.
ezt az utat,
What
mert
would have
ez
made
a
this game
kedvenc.
better? What did you want to see?
Ez a kedvencem.
Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were
Ceiling
before.
light.
Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Most már nem akarom. Várjál. Az az ending, amit szeretnék csinálni, az arra van. Ugye itt van egy harmadik ajtó, mert hogy nem tetszett nekünk az a 2 választás, és hogy milyen, hogyha lenne egy harmadik opció. Na szóval vajon, ha most oda mennénk, amit először mondott, akkor mi történne? Oh,
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback
igazi
here.
kritikát akarsz? Hát nézzük, a 3 ajtó egy picit túl sok volt szerintem. Vagy lehet, hogy inkább túl kevés, nem tudom, csak nem érződött olyan helyesnek, egyszerűen furcsa volt, szóval inkább egy olyan
Oh, well,
2-es.
now this is useful. You didn't like it, but you didn't totally hate it either. You enjoyed it, perhaps is the correct term. It didn't cause you excruciating pain. Big steps we've made here today, Stanley. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Oh. Worldwide leaderboard. Lol. First. 12 másodperc. Dead Red. Hát utolsó vagyok. Nem baj.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to
Nem,
keep walking
ezt
through
utáltam.
doors? Again, honest answers, please.
Utáltam.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity
Most
to
lesz
give
a
it some
babás.
playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours.
És itt
So
nem
why don't you
vicce.
give it 4
Tényleg
hours of
4
play to
óráig
make
kell
sure it's
ezt a részt
effective?
játszani.
Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
De utánozza a hangot. Nem. Nem. Jó, hogyha annyira akarsz, akkor gyerünk, tessék.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me?
Nem,
Because if it's the
idegesített.
latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game, just to ease the pain? Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Huh?
Aha! Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation?
Na ne.
Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower. Perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose.
Játékot raktad bele.
Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Ezt ugye nem tudjátok, ez a Firewatch. Merélve. De jó. És én amúgy játszottam ezzel a játékkal, nem a csatornán, de magamnak játszottam. Imádtam itt a kis animációt, amikor mindig egy öp, így csinál. De imádtam. Jó játék, jó játék.
Oh no. No, it can't be.
Mi? Mi nem lehet? Na, nézzük, mi van erre.
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off. Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You nearly wandered off into that thing, that big open, just wandering around, no right or wrong directions, no path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here.
Oké, keresni másik játékot akkor, hogyha annyira nem szereted az open world játékokat.
Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls. Okay, I think this will be just the thing. Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
Ezt az öcsémmel olyan sokat játszottuk. Ez a Rocket
Okay,
League,
so what
ugye?
exactly do we do here? Let's see.
Ez egy
There are
focis
lots of
játék.
cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley,
Igen.
I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together? Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
Nem, és tényleg kötök. Oké. Gyerünk. Gyorsulok is.
Are you doing? Hold on. What are you doing?
Segítség.
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you.
Nem tudok
How will
visszajönni.
you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
Hát jó, akkor magunk maradtunk. Ugye akkor ez a rész. ahol vannak a különböző asszetek. Nem tudom, mellé kell itt menni most. Oh. Ez a régi aha, aki nem tudta esetleg, az a Stanley Parable, az egy Half-Life modként készült. Fú, alig látni. Remélem, hogy jó irányba megyek. Jó irány. Ott a fény. Most picit csalok, most a ti képeteket nézem néha, mert ott még valamilyen látni. 427. Egy kis idővel később.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Mert hogy eredetileg az eredeti Stanley Parable-ben itt a játékok komplett mások voltak. Elmentünk a portálba, aztán a Minecraftba, és azt hiszem, hogy ennyi volt. Nem tudom, nem hiszem, hogy volt-e még egy. Most megnézzük, hogy igen, eltűnt mindenki. Most megnézzük, hogy mi lesz, hogyha követjük a narrátort, mert ez eddig csak egy kis érdekességet találtam. Ugye hát, hogy megváltoztatták a játékokat. Itt valami más?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Múltkor is itt volt. Jó, menjünk tovább egyszerűen. Room closet. Emlékszem, van egy ilyen dolog, hogy ide bevész.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Szertár végig, úgymond. Igazából semmit, csak ott bent vagy.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Fel a főnökhöz.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Igen, és akkor arra kell menni. És szépen akkor lefele. Egy kis liftezés.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Whoops, nope, never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out.
Én se tudok várni, hogy miért vegyek vissza. Itt egy másik.
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still
Igen.
just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow! I'm bolted to the edge of my seat.
Na hát te most kritizálsz engem? Nézzük csak. Ó... 4, 2, 7. De nem minden ugyanaz. Hát jó. Azt tudom, hogy valami érdekeset találok, de... Nem tudom kisilabizálni, hogy itt mit tudnék megváltoztatni. Esetleg itt van valami. Az egyik könyv máshogy néz ki. Nem. Mert azt mondtam lehet, hogy minden ugyanolyan, szóval tudta, hogy nem ugyanolyan valami. Piano. Feladom lefele.
Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this?
Narrátor, ez... kus. Na menjünk.
Surely this time Stanley will walk forward into the spooky corridor, won't he?
Most mondta, hogy biztos Stanley előre megy. Olyan, hogyha még egyszer felmegyek, akkor történik valami?
Did you think we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor? No. It's time once again to go back up in the elevator. I can't even begin to grapple with what might be up there. Is it the boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this time? The suspense is killing
Igen,
me.
mi van, hogyha a főnök irodája van fönt? Úristen, alig tudom kívánni. Ne! A főnök irodája!
Oh my god. It's the boss's office.
Jaj, ne.
This absolutely changes everything for me. Give me a time out here for a minute while I process this. Okay, I'm ready. I'm prepared to embrace this stunning revelation and to move forward with... No! No, wait! No! I need more time to process.
Úristen. Jó, ezt tudja, hogy új.
All right. I have fully come
Igen?
to terms with it.
Biztos?
I have made space in my worldview for this astonishing new reality. As before, I turn to your expert eye for gripping narrative, Master Stanley.
Végre valaki elismeri, hogy micsoda tökéletes sztori mesélő vagyok. Na,
Of course. Going back down in the elevator.
mi
How
más?
did I not anticipate it? I mean, sure, now it's obvious, but you have to understand that 30 seconds ago, this kind of thing had never been attempted before. I had
Ugye?
no frame of reference to even anticipate it. That's just how revelatory Stanley's decision-making is. A breath of fresh air in a landscape of storytelling that has grown stale and repetitive.
Köszönöm. Köszönöm szépen, na végre. Vicc kedvéért. Most nem mond erre semmit?
You know what? I've just thought of something. Hold on, let's stop for a moment. Don't you realize? It's the anticipation, Stanley. You and I, we have no way of knowing what will be at the top of this elevator, but the suspense, the agony of waiting and anticipating and having to guess, that's the real thrill. Oh, I simply don't want to let that feeling go. It's so precious, so fleeting. Why don't we take this elevator ride nice and slow?
Na ne.
There we go. Isn't this so much more exciting?
Yeah,
Yes,
sokkal
Stanley. It
izgalmasabb.
seems like nowadays the only thing that audiences want is to be shocked as loudly and frequently as possible. They want big, explosive moments flung right in their faces from the very moment that things get started. But where's the tension? Where's the trust in the audience to build a slow and nuanced appreciation for the story, the characters? Why aren't we given time to imagine the surprises? To have to think and to anticipate and then to marvel at the eventual reveal. This is storytelling, Stanley. What you and I are doing right now. This is the most exciting narrative to be developed in years. And it's really all because of you. You're the one who took this bold step of revisiting the exact same locations over and over. Truly, I mean it. This is unique and different. It's not like anything else out there. You see, I want stories that surprise me, Stanley. I want to have to think. I want to be engaged and not pandered to. We're being fed such unimaginative drivel all the time, and we all know it, which is why we're so starved for content that makes us feel sharp and vital and alive. That's why people like you so much, Stanley, because you're not afraid to spit in the face of tradition. You're a role model, you know? People look up to you. Which is why, oh, I didn't know when to spring this on you, but, well, I've gathered a little press conference for you, so that you can talk about your work and your storytelling and your life. Yes, I know you're not much for the public eye, but I thought it would especially mean a lot to the people who have been following you from the beginning. They really look up to you, Stanley. I don't know if you realize the impact you have on them. This is the kind of gesture that might leave a tremendous impact on them for the better. Oh, good, we're here. Okay, the room where we're holding the press conference should be just around the corner here.
All eyes on Stanley. Oh, wow. World's healthiest human being. Hogyan csináltak a piramis? A csávó, aki elment a Marsra. És ez most itt mind csak nekem? A sztori mesélő. Stanley elmondja az új könyvében. Még könyvet is, tényleg könyvet is írtam. Tényleg, vegyétek meg a könyvemet. Világbéke, baba. Stanley, ma. The man, the process, the wish, the legend, the parable. Stanley, from the Stanley Parable.
Yes, here it is, just through this door.
Világ első öntudatos masinája. Ujjaj, az nem jó hely. Hú, készen állok? Készen állok erre? De nem készültem. Oké, nyugizoli. Meg tudod csinálni.
All right, are you ready? I've told them you're going to speak a little bit about the nature of surprise in storytelling and what it means to craft a truly unpredictable narrative. Oh, don't worry, you'll do great. Just be yourself and speak from the heart. I'm really proud of you, Stanley. Okay, it looks like they're ready for you. Go get them.
Okay. Készen állnak rám. Hello mindenkinek! Igen, te, hogy vagy? Igen, te is! Köszönöm szépen! Jó, ez az ending volt eddig az egyik legjobb. Új kedvencem van. Na most akkor pici vágás. Követjük teljesen, amit a narrátor mond. Egészen a liftig most nem fogtok látni. Éppen sétáltam, és most volt az, hogy memo, de ez mi? Új content?
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Okay. Hidd a narrátor, én sem tudom, hogy mit jelent ez az egész.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers.
2003.
After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers.
Itt egész konzolokon is kint van, előtt fejtettem.
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Én is kíváncsi vagyok, hogy mi lesz itt. Na, gyere.
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Szerintem is narrátor.
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, here we go.
Azok.
All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Igen, csináljuk.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Én is látni akarok contentet, gyerünk.
All right.
Circle.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Ott lehet ugrani! Legjobb játék! 2012, miért akartam azt mondani? 2022 legjobb játék! Game of the Year! És? Megkaptam az achievementet, hogy nem tudok ugrani, és utána megkaptam az achievementet, hogy kapta egy achievementet. Az jó, akkor nézzük, mi van még!
Is that it?
Eddig?
Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Nem tudom, miért vesz az ugrás, az eléggé
Another elevator. Stanley,
nagy volt.
I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what part of the exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Igen, van még valami tuti. Thank you for
That's it?
enjoying.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks,
Én vagyok a
just you and
tábla.
me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Sok most resetelte? Nem resetelte. Ó. Na az. De jó. Olcsó játék ugye gyerekeknek. Aj.
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
Oké.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got
Igen.
me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Ez a mi kis titkunk.
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Oké. Akkor ez a Memory Zone. Itt vannak a kedvenc emlékei. Don't forget.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Emlékszem, én a Stanley Parable-t először PewDiePie-nál láttam. Indie Box Collector's Edition. Nem is tudtam arról. Erről se tudtam. Original, mi van időben? Ez volt az eredeti honlapjuk? Smile because it happened. Ez egy SpongeBob utalás? Ez volt a demónak a izéje, jó? Go outside. De ez az achievement még mindig nincs meg nekem. Ez sincs, ezt csak csalásra lehet elérni, azt hiszem. És én folyton elfejtem. Meg hát jelenleg ezt az achievementet csinálom az eredetiben. Szóval nem is tudom még szerezni még ezt, amíg ez nincs meg. Még 3 évet várnom kell. Theater surprisingly dumb. These tough choices. Az a vég. Az volt egy legnagyobb what the fuck vég. Azt tudom, hogy egyre lehet menni.
Je suis dans la memory zone, c'est sur l'abri des vélos, et je n'attends plus
And over
que
here
toi.
is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
A portál. Igen, mondtam, az a portál. A portál benne volt. Itt van valami Minecraft. De aztán az a alkalandvonal. Ez mi? Kérlek, húzd ki a dugót. Ez a steril iroda. Hetekig nyomtattam ezeket. Miért nem jött senki, hogy kikapcsoljon? Hát ez az a... Milyen neve annak? Nem tudom a szoftver nevét. De ez egy ilyen mapkészítő program a Half-Life-hoz, vagy pedig a Garry's Modhoz, ami szintén egy Half-Life mod. Menjünk tovább. Piros meg kék ajtó, ugye azt láttuk ma. Ezekről szó szerint nem tudtam, hogy van. Utána kell nézni, hogy tényleg van ilyen Collector's Edition.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
A komoly szoba az, hogyha nem tudja valaki, bár szerintem egy csomóan tudják, ha csalást írsz be, akkor oda teleportálsz, és a narrátor egész végig arról pofázik, hogy mennyire csalódott abban, hogy csaltál meg, hogy ez most a komoly szoba, én amúgy kedves vagyok, de ez a komoly szoba, és hogy sok asztalt nézegettem, szerinted ez elég komoly-e? Source SDK.
These were simpler times, Stanley. What I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Nem hiszem. Not recommended.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Nem tudom, szerintem vicces a narrátor. Az biztos csak egy troll volt. Mit lehet itt még találni? Itt lesz még egy olyan, ami nem tetszik. Hoppá, ott is van egy. Látod? Szeretik. 3 óra.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks are my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Igen, kattint az előmész. Szóval lehet így is menni. Lehet az egérre is menni, meg lehet billentyűre is menni. És komolyan az emberek miért írogatnak ilyeneket? Na mi ez?
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button.
Skip button.
A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Okay, skip gomb.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all, until the end... Oh, you're back, you see? You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto.
Ez a kettő
Look,
szót nem is
I'll
van.
outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your great gift of mortal and yet timeless thought? Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made in fact make you more not this kind of person, and in fact do the very opposite? You see, it could in fact be both of these things at once. That you are both making choices and not making choices, and that they are both
elvesztettem
affecting you
gondolatort.
and not affecting you at the same time by virtue of the fact that you both are and are not making them. Okay, at first I was leaning towards manifesto, but now I'm going to circle around and slap the treatise label on this
Yes,
one.
a
I think it has
treatise.
much more of a treatise vibe to it. But wouldn't you say that manifesto just has a much grander
választok
sort of
olyan nyomjam
tone?
meg.
It has a mouthfeel that is rich with ambition. Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on exactly how Steam
Azt én sem tudom, hogy meg lehet szerkeszteni.
Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's... Well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again.
Okay.
I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window, or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere?
no.
A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button, to go anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? I swear.
Na, de
there
hát most
was.
megint rám
Where did
fog
it
fonni az
go?
egészet.
Can you maybe just ram your way through a wall? Is there any possibility that you could, say, slam your body into the
Megpróbáltam.
wall until enough damage is done for you to be able to leave? Please, I'll take any option at all. I'm asking you to work with me here.
Azt
We
csinálom.
need a door. We need a door of some kind. I can work with any kind of
Miért,
door
hogyha várnám
as long
még
as
egy
it can
picit?
open and lead from one room. Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours.
12 óra volt.
You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone.
Ajaj.
I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls. Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like
bocsánat,
what
de
we've already been
muszáj
doing?
tovább
Me just
minden.
talking? But it is. Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley.
Ez is
Days,
teljesen...
months, I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took
Come on,
its place
időről kezd
is what I can
beszélni.
only describe.
Bocs.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition.
Me?
But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs down review and make all... The end is never the end, 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 is never the...
Ez egy picit ijesztő volt már. Ó, működik, amit gondoltam. Egy idő után... napfény. Na, látod, tudtam, hogy egy idő után a szépen elkezd omladozni. Mert minden egy idő után... Minden eltűnik. Várj. Narrátor? Halló? Ez mind szép is jó, de nekem kéne egy kiút. Nem tudok felmászni. Fel lehet mászni? Ó, bogyók. Nem. Én felmásznék. Skip. Ez egy picit kezd ijesztően, szóval bocsánat, magamnak leviszem a hangot. Úgy 48. Fú, ez a hiszegés. Ez a hiszegés, ez megijesztő. Csak egy sivatag. Ez volt a vég. Na látod, itt van még?
All of his co-workers were gone.
Jó, itt van. Köszönöm szépen, hogy velem voltatok, remélem tetszett nektek ez a rész. Ebből még lesz tuti folytatás, minden egyes véget átnézzük. Ne próbáljuk átfésülni az egészet. Szóval kérlek szépen semmi spoiler, ami az újjal kapcsolatos. Egy nagyon pici spoilert már tudok. Valami vödörrel kapcsolatos. De hogy az mi, azt nem tudom. Hogyha tetszett, akkor nyomjátok meg a like-ot, illetve dislike-ot. Én takizoli voltam, vagyok és leszek. A látásra.